Welcome to the Emerging Professional Series at the Coffee Conversation Show powered by the Emerging India Forum, TEIF, and a tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Theme is From Strategy to Storytelling, Shivesh's Journey in Tech Marketing. A strategic marketing consultant, founder of Focus Few Strategy Consulting, working on a strategic alignment software and vice president at SEAP Pune, which is Pune's number one association for tech companies and their CXO leaders. He has also recently ventured into angel investment with his first investment in a healthcare startup. With decades of experience spanning engineering, product management, marketing, and business strategy, Shivesh has mastered the art of simplifying complex technologies into compelling stories that resonate with businesses and customers alike. Beyond consulting and startups, he is also deeply passionate about Indian classical music, blending creativity and discipline across both work and life. And we also come to know Shivesh as a person. So, welcome, Shivesh, today's coffee conversation. And since we are celebrating International Peace Day at the Coffee Conversation Show, so you will be a part of that, and you will share your views on the international peace. Theme is Together as One. So let's begin. There will be three rounds, Shivesh. First, professional, personal, and a surprise, the rapid fire round, where you will be in the hot seat and here's your inspiration, AI in the workforce. So, which will be autographed and sent to you. So, let's begin. Friends, I'm Lion Amir Virani, host at Coffee Conversation Legal Tech Evangelist at Prime Infotech Solution, author of 15 books. We help law firms, corporate legal startup SMEs, world class technology, software licensing, and tech training solutions. So, my first question, Shivesh. How has journey shaped up, and what were the key defining moments you had?
Thanks, Amir. First of all, thank you for reaching out and inviting. This is an honor and a privilege for me, and I look forward to my coffee and a great conversation with you. Um, so, how has my journey shaped me? So overall, um, I started in a small town. So I was brought up in a small town in a place called Satna in MP, and my father uh, was uh, was an EDP manager. So he was a computer professional back in the 70s. And as I grew over there, so computers and software was a no-brainer. In fact, I helped him a little bit in my 11th and 12th, going to his office and helping out in with his, some DCM basic programs in Unix and so on. Uh, so having done that, I mean, I graduated in computer science, and after that, uh, I did the 6 months course that CDAC has called Diploma in Advanced Computing from Pune, and I came to Pune with that. So that was about 18 years ago. Sorry, 28 years ago. And uh, I I did the course in CDAC, and then I have been doing a few other things. So I started as a technologist, as a software engineer, and then moved to I did an MBA, mid-career MBA around the age of 28, 29, and moved to more business side of things, which we can, I guess, discuss some more. And I was in the US for a couple of years for that. Came back to India and been with a couple of companies like Harbinger Systems, Persistent Systems, and now have my own company called Focus Few.
Wow. Okay. So, thank you for leading me to my next question. So, what is the story behind naming of your startup firm, Focus Few Consulting? So that is first part, and the second part will be Focus Few Consulting has a unique proposition. What gap in the market did you see before starting it?
A great question. It's a question about the name that I get asked quite often. So the idea behind the name is that Focus Few. My belief is that for any business to succeed, and maybe not just business, probably even wider, I think we all need to focus on a few things and do a good job of them. So there is a general belief that you can do a lot of things and spread your chips all around, and so that something will succeed. But that's not really how life or professional career or business works out. So I think building expertise in a methodical manner focusing on a few things, which means you're really paying attention and building things in a very structured manner around that, and building, getting expertise and all that, I think is very important. So that's the inspiration for the name. And I've seen that actually practically applicable, especially in the marketing and strategy. The strategy is essentially about making choices. And it's not really about what you do, it's also about what you choose not to do, because we can all do a lot of things and we all get tempted to do a lot of things in business. So the hard question to answer is, what choices are you making and what are you not doing? Um, that is, one thing. And specifically the need that I saw, I started Focus in 2018. I was with Persistent Systems at that time, and I was heading the product marketing function, and I've been in marketing function for the last 17, 18 years since my MBA, like I said. And the gap that I saw was that a lot of marketing agencies and marketing teams and the marketing fraternity as a whole had has a lot of functional expertise in processes, like how to launch campaigns, do SEO, do events. So there's a lot of functional depth and expertise that goes into all of that. But there is a strong component of substance also within marketing, which loosely you can call it content, you can call it messaging. But the business that you are in, uh, especially for in the context of technology, technology inherently is fairly complex, whether it's cloud computing or AI these days or automation integration. Uh, you have to really deeply understand all these technologies for you to be able to simplify it in a language that anyone can understand. So your especially your customers and investors and stakeholders. So that simplification is something that I saw I could bring to the table newly. So that domain expertise and subject matter expertise in technology is really helpful for that.
Wow. So, Shivesh, having worked across global and Indian companies, what's the biggest contrast in marketing mindset among them?
Okay, that's a great question. So the my experience, with US companies, either as them being my clients or having lived there for a couple of years and learned all through great examples and case studies uh, during our MBA, and generally the marketing thought process. I think it's an evolved, especially the developed economies are more evolved in their thinking in terms of marketing. Especially US is really great at marketing, and it's there in their culture. And one of the things is that the long-term thinking that is needed for marketing is something that is quite deeply entrenched in the uh, in global companies and more evolved companies. In India, I think we have some ways to go. We are a more nascent economy, nascent business environment. So I think that is something where, for example, we are quite sales driven, and founder led sales and that kind of a thing. So I think this is a journey that has to be taken by companies, and that's what is happening today. So which is what makes me quite excited, especially in the last 5 years or so. uh, I think the Indian industry is thinking a lot more comprehensively. The founders and the entrepreneurs are thinking more long term. uh, so I think that one of the differences that, um, yeah, I mean, the the sales driven and the short term nature of things is something that I think we can learn from these advanced economies.
Wow. So, Shivesh, as someone who's worked with CXOs, what's the most common branding or messaging mistake organizations make?
Okay, so on the so one of the things is, many mid-sized organizations, growing organizations, startups in different stages have this notion that branding is not for them. Messaging is for sophisticated companies and so on. So that's something that is, because the level of branding that a Nike can do or an Apple can do is different from what a smaller company can do. Uh, so there'll be sophisticated execution of the brand marketing and branding, but I think messaging and uh, creation of a brand, and I mean brand in a lot more depth. It's not just about the colors and logo and all that. It's about your business, about the way you project yourself, what people perceive of you. All of these things are important. So um, I think that's one thing that I think from day one every entrepreneur needs to uh, really be cognizant of how they are going to be perceived in the market and by customers and other stakeholders. So that's an important aspect that they need to look at.
Wow. So, Shivesh, storytelling is the heart of marketing. What's your framework for turning complex tech into simple stories?
Um, so one is to have an outside-in perspective. That's easier said than done. What I mean by that is a lot of the um businesses that we work with, especially um, or in general, like companies founded by technologists who have a vision for how technology can be used to solve problems. It's very hard to switch hats and change hats to go kind of go on the other side of the table and try to see how that is being received on the other end. So, so a lot of a lot of literature, collaterals, material, website content that you will see on websites typically happen to be uh, what we call inside out, which is okay, this is what I have, this is what we can do, and it's a lot about talking in first person also. If you really closely observe, uh, but to change that, you need to understand that um, uh, what you are giving is not what the person is receiving. So you might give a drilling machine, but the person is drilling using that machine to drill a nail into the wall, right? And on that wall will be hung like maybe like a photo frame of your last family vacation. So what the person wants, what the person is getting is is not a drilling machine really. It's what they do with it. So that's a very subtle difference. So that's kind of part of the storytelling where you think about some of these aspects. So maybe perhaps reading a lot of fiction, being able to create some drama around all these things. So if you were to ask you asked about the frameworks, right? So of course there are some standard frameworks for storytelling, but overall I think having characters, creating drama, and then building out these stories from the perspective of the recipient on the other end is, I think, a good way to go about it.
Wow. So, from engineering to marketing to strategy, how did you navigate such a multi-dimensional career journey?
Um, so yeah, I mean, I think so. The way I think it turned out is that I was a software engineer, like I said, for the first 7 years of my career, and after about 5 years or so, there was this thought that I want to do more. Um, and at that time, I have been reading books since an early age. Initially, fiction when I was small, but a lot of the non-fiction books also that I started reading. A lot of them happened to be books around business strategy and things of that sort. And I thought that it'll be an interesting thing to see how technology is impacting business and impacting real lives of people and businesses out there. And so that I think that foundation, that understanding early on, in the first 5 to 7 years of my career, that I don't want to just build things, but I also want to see how they get adopted. I think that was an important. At that time, I don't. When this probably I'm saying it in hindsight. It wasn't something that uh, I had so much foresight about, but I just knew that I can do more, and I think that that choice and decision helped me. My years at in the US at Duke uh, were very interesting, were very life changing in the sense that uh, it was a very different view. The what I talked about, the inside out versus the outside in view. So a lot of that was, I think, part of the way the curriculum was structured and so on, and not just marketing courses, but in general, a lot of the courses were that way. So that helped. So my specialization is in strategy, and that is something that I think is strategy is something very it's a little hard to explain. One approximation, like I said, is to the art of saying no to some things and making some strategic choices. But it's also a mindset and a thought process that being strategic is something that you could be even without an MBA or without getting a degree in strategy. But so there are tactical and day-to-day ways of doing things, and then there are strategic ways of doing things. So I think that mindset is at the foundation. And so whether it was technology or marketing later, I think that strategic thinking, I think, helps a lot, where you bring that strategic thinking into the marketing function. Of course, there was a period of learning the marketing function after my MBA, which were again very formative years for me in the new kind of world. Uh, but I think that's how it kind of panned out. That it was a it was a set of skills that you capture and you gain over a period of time.
Wow. So AI and automation are impacting. How do you see them impacting marketing domain,
Yeah, I mean,
especially
that's
for
a
tech
great question.
guys?
Yeah, it's a question on everybody's mind, I guess. So what I've seen, my experience with AI, I think, has been, and we do use AI. We are in fact using AI to develop a product which is in kind of stealth mode right now, and we are with the 7 years of experience with through Focus View and my years of experience before, we've kind of packaged everything into uh, a, a productized version of the work that we do. Um, the way I think the best way to think about AI is that I think it speeds things up for sure. So something that used to take 2 months would take like maybe half an hour now, or 5 minutes, 10 minutes. So the pace has changed, but if you interact with AI and if you use AI, one thing you'll realize is that the intensity of the thought process and the way the clarity of thoughts that you need as a human being has not changed at all. If anything, it pushes you to be even more thoughtful and clear in what you want. Because AI can do wonderful things. It can give great outputs and outcomes, and can really surprise you with some of those. But it is it that pushes you to it puts you back in the hot seat, saying that okay, what is it that I need to do with AI? Because AI is like, it's not a matter of how you use AI to build something up. It's actually, AI is like this huge power, huge bolt of lightning that you need to learn how to harness it. So if anything, it's about how do you put the guardrails up around AI to make it work for you. So it's actually the opposite of uh, using some tool to do something. It's actually using some tool to limit something and build what you want. So it that thought process and clarity is very important.
Wow. So what skills will remain timeless for marketing professionals, especially the tech marketing guys?
um, yeah, so building on the last point that I made, so I think tech marketing people and the skills in marketing, I think the thoughtfulness and the clarity of thinking, like I said, and I think those will remain and become more and more important. You can think of like AI as a as you use AI is like a smart youngster who has a lot of information and data, and maybe a little bit of knowledge, some amount of knowledge, right? That it has gleaned from here and there, and through patterns and all. Uh, but about data and information is what you have is actually wisdom. So you have data, information, and then knowledge on top of that, and then you build wisdom on top of that. So that's why as you age, older people are wiser. They have like seen the world, right? So that wisdom part is something that at least yet AI has not uh, reached there. I don't know whether it will at some point, but a large part of knowledge and wisdom is something that we can bring to AI, and all that AI can give you is a lot of information. But what to do with that information, whether to use it in a positive way, and how that information can solve people's problems, all of those things will still remain with us. So I think those are still timeless.
Wow. So, Shivesh, at C Pune, you have contributed to building an ecosystem. What role do you see regional platforms playing in shaping India's tech narrative?
I think they're very important because as the startup ecosystem is developing, um, businesses are growing fast. GCCs are coming to India, and GCCs in India are trying to uh, become more than just back office, engineering or these kind of internal services. Uh, I think platforms like SEEP and things, other associations help you um, come out of your offices and your whatever you're building and meeting people. And I think especially if you are in customer facing roles, if you want to build a more well-rounded leadership, I think going out there and meeting people and getting these perspectives will help you build the outside in perspective that I was talking about also. So whether you're in marketing profession or just leadership, building a product, you could be product manager, you could be engineering leader, but I think uh, that outside in perspective is very important. For example, if you talk about a CTO at a startup, I think it's not in my belief. So there are typically like two, three co-founders that every startup has. So there is a business person, there is the CEO who's looking at the sales and marketing. Then you have the co-founder and CTO typically. Um, and but with a especially in a startup ecosystem, but increasingly even the CTOs need to have a very uh, well-rounded business outlook. So it's not enough for me to just say that, okay, I'm going to build this, but I don't know how it's going to be used. That doesn't make for a great CTO, especially in today's world if you're building something really meaningful. So I think associations like this give great opportunities for people to round off their rough edges, meet people from other functions and fraternity, and learn from them.
Wow. So, Sivesh, if you could redesign one thing about the way Indian startups approach branding, what would it be?
First thing is um, they should not get blindsided or intimidated by the word brand. So a lot of them think that brand and branding is something that can wait and can happen later. But like I said, brand is an integral part of any business that you're developing. So, but when you think of brand, actually the substantive part of brand is actually the messaging, the value proposition, the positioning that you have, and the differentiators that you bring to the table. So brand is more comprehensive than just branding and logos, like I said earlier. So I think young professionals and young Indian startups, uh, I'm sure they do have a thought process of how the product is going to get used and who their customers are. But a more structured way, they should really focus on, just like they structure their technology, software development and architect it well so that it's resilient and robust for the next 5, 7, 10 years. They need to think the same with their brand also from day one. Eventually, they might become an Apple or a Google, or they might not. But I think the uh, having that clarity of thought on who they are and for whom they provide what value is the essence of brand. And then the rest of the logos and colors and the tonality and all that is ways and means of communicating that outside. So that's what would be my one advice to you know uh, Indian startups, or even early stage startups.
Wow. So, in your new avatar, you have become an angel investor, and that is for a health tech startup. What are the key elements one should focus to become an angel investor?
I wouldn't say I'm an expert yet. I just started on this journey, but with my experience with this has been that I I saw the pitch deck and I sat in through the pitch that this company made, and what struck me was that it was a business that was grounded in the real world, and there were no buzzwords around AI, or at least they were not center stage, around all of these things. It was like a very real world business. So I think, and if you listen to people like Warren Buffett and a lot of people, right, that's what they also recommend, that at some point we need to shed our fascination with all these technological terms. Again, goes back to simplifying the narrative and telling simple stories that even a 10-year-old can understand. I think that is very important. Uh, so far it's early days, but my gut feeling was that this company can probably do well. So that's how I went about it. There was no scientific structural way that I went about.
So it will become a structure with the more ये क्या बोलते हैं in angel investments with different companies. So my last question for your professional journey round, Shivesh, what advice would you give to young professionals who want to take up a niche of tech marketing?
So actually, the answer is kind of in the word itself. So it's tech and marketing. Um, the mistake that I see that many young professionals do is uh, they're either from a marketing background, which means that they think it's okay to not understand technology, and the result of that is that they are not able to write even basic content around technology. And if you're coming from tech side, then marketing is something that you need to uh, you know gain some skills, maybe go through a course or certification, if not a full-fledged MBA. But I think that bridging that gap and having the subject matter expertise, especially since you're asking about marketing professionals, one thing that I want to really communicate is that um, it's not okay to not know technology to a good level of depth, because you can't do justice to tech marketing without understanding how all these technologies work, whichever domain you pick.
Wow. So let's go to the next round and understand Shivesh as a person. Tell us about your family and your formative years.
So I was, like I said, I was brought up in a small town called Satna, which had a. My father was an EDP manager with a Birla Group company, and in fact, he set up the computer department in that company back in the late 70s. And so we had like a very nice childhood with a lot of facilities. We uh, were in company quarters. We had like all the facilities like club and tennis and badminton and a good library, which I made use of, especially as I grew into my teenage years. So that's how we started. So my family, there are four of us. I have two elder brothers and an, and a sister who's the eldest one. Um, my mother was a homemaker, and my father, like I said, was an EDP department head. Yeah, I mean, so that's how we grew, and I, I remember it was a good environment from the family side that my brothers would read a lot of books. They would argue. They were like, I'm the youngest, and I'm quite much younger than my other three siblings. My next brother is about 7 years old, elder to me. So yeah, so I I saw a lot of them growing up, and I always say that uh, a lot of my life is like I got a preview of it because I saw my brothers and sister, what they went through, and all said and done, we all live very similar lives while we might do our own thing. But I got a good view of what to expect in about 6 to 10 years of time.
Wow. So when work gets overwhelming, what's your favorite escape?
Um, well, day to day, my favorite escape is I go into the kitchen and I make myself a cup of tea or coffee. So that really I think relaxes me. So it does get overwhelming from time to time, and in general, I find cooking to be quite a stress buster and quite enjoyable. So weekends I try to make the few things that I know how to cook, and so that's pretty relaxing, I would say.
Wow. So how does music, especially Hindustani classical music, influence your way of thinking in work?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. I've So yeah, I mean, so my music journey has been so I've been learning classical music well, I started about 25 years ago. So there've been with work and corporate life and my time in the US and all that. So it has been with a lot of breaks in between. Um, how it helps overall is that it's an very integral part of my life, and throughout this whole journey, it's something that, of course, it keeps me grounded and gives me an outlet and those kind of things. But if you specifically talk about, how it helps in professional careers or in the business world. I think there are some foundational things in especially in Indian classical music where there are a lot of improvisations that you have to do while singing. So within the rhythmic cycle that you have, or within the structure of the rags that you are singing, you have to improvise a lot, but you cannot take too many liberties and go completely out of your rhythmic cycle or the rules that have been set in around in rags. So and during those, so making those improvisations has a couple of things. It means that you have to be very alert all the time. When I say alert and in the moment, it's not in a stressful way that I'm alert with a lot of stressing that, oh my god, kya hoga, what will happen to me, but it's alert in a very positive sense that you're very self-aware in that moment, and that is uh, not an easy thing to achieve on stage or off stage. So how can you be in the moment? uh, and and you have to keep like I said, improvising, and uh, that's important. And the second thing is that it also uh, teaches you how you can be methodical and measured in your approach, and not stress out about doing too many things or going and meeting people, so many people, and just doing ad hoc things. there's a there's a there's a methodical and measured way that you can go about things and still be very, very productive. And that is something that I think a lot of leaders, as well as especially startup leaders, can learn from, in the sense that how do I do what's my next move? What happens when a new opportunity knocks my door? How can I take a step back and zoom out and do this in a way? How can I reject things that I should not be getting distracted with? So I think and that can really make you very productive.
Wow. So, what's that childhood memory that shaped who you are today?
Um, so maybe not a specific memory, but I think overall, while growing up, I mean, I would observe for example, I got different people, different things from my, all five people who were around me, right? My three siblings and parents. Like my mother um, taught me how to really appreciate quality and aesthetics. So I remember that, all her decisions about buying things for home. I remember getting a tricycle at a very young age. But it was like late, all my friends had tricycle and we somehow could not get. But when we bought one, it was really the best tricycle in that whole group. So, having appreciation for really the finer things in life, and, good quality things, and good aesthetics is, for example, one thing. From my father, the whole professional journey, I think, is inspired by him. Uh, and yeah, and my uh, siblings. My sister is a triple postgraduate. She's an MA, MS, and MBA. So, so we all are, I think, in a lifelong, learning journey. All of us siblings. My two brothers, the elder one, he went to NDA and became an army officer. My next brother went to IIT and IIT Delhi. And yeah, so of course that meant a lot of pressure on me because I was the kid brother. But it also shaped me a lot with on how to really make something out of yourself, I guess.
Wow. So, if your friends had to describe you in three words, what would it be?
Um, One would be perhaps naughty, um, thoughtful, second probably, and also maybe firm and disciplined,
Wow.
probably third one.
Which is that book or movie which has left a lasting impact on you?
Okay, hard to say one book, but There are a few different, I think, categories of books. I would say there's one book that I read called Improv Yourself many years ago, which was a book which was basically around was written by a person who was in improv comedy, and that book talked about how do you build on other people's things rather than so on the stage when people are doing improv comedy. um, there are some strict rules around which you should build on other people's thoughts, and you might say certain things that cuts those people, and then really it impacts the story that you're developing impromptu on the stage. So that was a great book. There was a book called um, Obliquity by John Kay, which talked about how you can uh, how all your goals are achieved are achieved in an indirect way. So you have to do things differently to achieve your goals. So which is a very lateral kind of, it helps with the lateral thinking that marketing needs. Uh, then there are some great books on business and strategy. I think there are quite a few of them. So we'll leave that for now, I think. But these are some, I think, couple of great books. Movies, I love The Godfather. I think very well made, especially one and two, and actually all three, but one especially. It's a great movie that's really fun to watch, and what perfection really looks like uh, in arts. I think Godfather is a great example.
Wow. So my last three questions are reflective. What legacy would like to leave behind?
Okay, that's an interesting question. So I think overall the legacy that I would like to leave behind is how how you can go in a focus in a certain direction and not lose sight of whatever it is that you're trying to achieve. Not in a very direct way, saying that okay, I'm going to know, build something or make so much money, but whatever direction that you want to choose for your life in terms of achieving things, but at the same time reinventing yourself along the way. So how can you keep reinventing? So today, especially since I started Focus Few, uh, every day looks different. I mean, every day I wake up and it's some different thought process, but it's not like a random thought process. Similar to what I said about music, it's not like without not out of bounds of what I'm trying to build. But at the same time, there's a lot of reinventing and reconstruction that is happening. So I think that's a legacy that I would like to leave with especially my daughter. And so because I think both are important. You need to have a structured vision, but at the same time, you need to be creative enough to keep changing.
Wow. So since this is an International Peace Day celebration, the Coffee Conversation Show theme is together as one. What message would like to give to our viewers out there?
Yeah, so I think the the way to peace is um, I think through a lot of cultural and artistic kind of endeavors. So I think that is very important. We are all very busy with our professional lives, our business, and even through social media. There's a lot of entertainment that happens, but the quality of the entertainment and everything I think plays a role. So especially with social media, it's become quite dangerous in terms of how you can get into an echo chamber and uh, you know really start consuming things that will start consuming you eventually. So the negative thoughts that can come in. So I think it's very important from a business perspective, business leaders and all to have this kind of an artistic or sports arts, any of these kind of things to have that outlook because that is what will makes us, well-rounded and more mature, as human beings. So what I would like to, yeah, convey to my viewers is I think and peace will kind of follow with if we have this kind of well-roundedness. Otherwise, we all tend to get very polarized or very parochial and those kind of things. So, but keeping an open mind and reading books, uh, uh, participating in arts of any form, uh, or sports, etc., it just keeps you, I think, well-grounded. So that's what I would say. Um,
Wow.
Maybe that will help with bringing peace.
Beautiful. So my last one is googly one. Describe Shivesh in one line.
It's again, I think I would say that I think I'm building something which is more than a product or just business, etc. Some of those tactical things, um, but yeah, going in a certain direction where I want to build a good life to leave behind for the next generation and for people that I'm touching. So, um, in one line, I would say, uh, yeah, going in a focused direction, but at the same time reinventing myself all along the way.
Wow. So let's put in the hot seat, Shivesh. The rapid fire round. Your go-to comfort food.
Pani puri,
Your favorite color.
okay, with blue, I think.
Strategy deck or storytelling pitch.
Oh, that's a tough one. Can I choose both? Uh, Strategy deck and storytelling. How about storytelling, strategy deck in storytelling form?
Okay. Startup hustle or consulting calm.
Um, Both, I guess. I don't know
Okay.
if they're different.
You're a morning person or a night owl.
Well, right now, neither, but I think night owl would be better. I'm not really a morning person.
Wow. Your favorite a classical music, what do you say, singer?
There are many of them, of course, who are all greats, but a couple of them that I can mention. One is Pandit Jasraj,
Mhm.
who's my teacher's guru, and Ustad Rashid Khan, and we lost him recently, so that was a sad day. Yeah, I
Wow.
think those two.
Hmm. Your dream travel place.
Well, all over the world, I think every place in the world has different things to offer. So I enjoy a Mulshi weekend getaway as much as I would enjoy, Switzerland or Europe.
Okay. So last one. Tea or coffee to recharge.
Oh, that's really difficult, Amit. That's not fair. I love both. Um, I do enjoy tea a lot, but coffee brings amazing amount of comfort, especially in the middle of the day. I start my day with tea, but coffee is something that I go to during the day.
Recharge. So let's retwist. And you did well. And here's a book which will be autographed and sent to you, Shivesh.
Thank you.
What stands out in Shivesh's journey is his ability to merge structure with creativity, whether in building strategies for businesses, mentoring leaders, or pursuing his love for Indian classical music. His story is a reminder that careers don't have to be linear. They can be layered with diverse experiences that enrich both work and life. And for sharing not just your professional wisdom, but also the personal philosophies that make you who you are. So, like that, there are 500 plus coffee speakers sharing their personal professional journey, insights. Subscribe, implement in your lives, and see a change. And we continue a conversation with another coffee speaker or a cup of coffee. So, take care. Thank you.
Thank you, Amit. Thank you for having me.
Yep.